Good morning. Good morning. We are just waiting for the numbers to start rolling in here to the webinar. Fantastic. Always like to give everyone a good 60 seconds to make sure they are connecting to whatever device is of preference. So let's start at 9:01, which is UK time. We're actually operating across 3 time zones today. So I'm based in the UK. We have Tommy, my colleague, who is based in Finland, so 2 hours ahead, and we also have Odd, Arne, and Ture, who are in Norway, so 1 hour ahead. So covering all the grounds across the different time zones. Great, I can see quite a few names still popping into the chat. Fantastic. All right. Okay. I am going to suggest that we kick off because I am sure you all have very busy schedules to be getting back to today. Right. First and foremost, good morning, everyone, and a very warm welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. I am Emma Blackmore. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at Snowfox, and I will be hosting today's session. We have, and I'm just checking here in the chat, close to 100 attendees with us today. So we've got a fantastic turnout. Some familiar faces I see here, and also some new ones as well. For those of you who are new to us, Snowfox is an AI-powered purchase invoice automation platform, and we're built specifically for finance teams. No doubt you will have realized that by now, otherwise you probably wouldn't be here in this webinar. But the idea for Snowfox was really born out of the fact that we realized that many of the finance teams we spoke to faced a very similar challenge. And that was that despite heavy investment in digitalization, around 80% or so of non-PO invoices were still being coded by hand or manually. And it was very slow, very expensive, and of course frustrating for everyone involved. So we took a different approach. Instead of building more rules, if you like, we built an AI that actually learns from your historical invoice data. So what's great about it is that it understands your coding logic, it adapts the changes automatically, and it improves with every invoice. Now, Snowfox itself has been around for, nearly a decade now, which is quite something, especially for a startup. And we work very closely with enterprise customers across the Nordics and the UK. You'll be familiar with a few of these names. Some of them are the likes of Finnair, Cramo, ISS, and of course, Newsec Property Asset Management, who you'll hear from in a few minutes. And I think that's quite a nice segue for some introduction. So I'll hand over to my colleague, Tommy, to kick us off.
Yeah, hello, everyone. Welcome to the webinar on my behalf as well. I am so excited about this opportunity to do this session together with Ture and Odd Arne. Very, very big thank you, guys, for co-hosting the webinar with us. But yeah, my name is Tuomas Haapsaari, and I am responsible for partnerships at Snowfox. I've been with the company for over 7 years now. So welcome, everyone. Ture.
Hello, yeah, my name is Ture, working in Newsec as a project manager, taking care of, among the Snowfox solution here, but also our core ERP solution, D365, and other solutions as well.
Hi, my name is Odd Arne. I'm a communications manager for Newsec Property Asset Management in Norway. And I'm a big part of this because of my communication skills and a bit because of my involvement with a lot of the projects that we do on automation and digital solutions.
Wonderful. Thank you both so much. It's lovely to have you with us. And I think always great when we can have two for the price of one, so to speak. Always good to have two brains and two different sets of experiences. Before we kick off, I thought it would be worthwhile just sharing a quick word on what today is and, of course, what it isn't. So you'll be delighted to know that today is not a product pitch by any means, and it's certainly not going to be a quote unquote polished success story either. What we want to do over the next 45 minutes or so is have a really transparent and very sort of open conversation about what AI in invoice automation actually delivers once it's live, where perhaps it falls a little bit short, and of course, what to look for if you are evaluating it for your business right now, which I'm sure many of you are. There are going to be three things that we are looking to cover. First and foremost, we'll be looking at sort of where AI in AP sits in 2026. So giving a little bit of color on the landscape, what's working, what's a little overinflated. Secondly, we'll be looking at what good actually looks like in practice, which my colleague Tommy will walk you through. And then thirdly, which is also the heart of the conversation today, is a very candid conversation with both Tore and Odd-Arne about what it's been like to essentially live with this technology for, gosh, nearly 3 years now, which is also quite something. And in terms of housekeeping, we all love a bit of housekeeping. Just so you know, we are recording today's session. We will send the replay to everyone who's registered, regardless of whether you stay for the full 50 minutes or if you have to drop off early. So there's no pressure on note taking. We've also kept the chat open throughout, so you should all have access to it. If there's anything that we cover throughout the discussion that sparks a conversation or a question for you, please do feel free to drop it in. Don't be shy. We will keep an eye on it and we'll weave in the most relevant questions as we go if we can. Otherwise, we will absolutely leave some time for Q&A at the end, and any questions we don't get to, we will make sure that we tackle towards the very end. Right, so just before I do hand it over to Tommy, I thought it would also be worth sharing a quick framing point before we get into things and sort of what we've been seeing at SnowFox and the lay of the land more generally. There have been a lot of reports about the sort of state of AI in finance specifically as of late. But Bain & Company recently launched a very interesting report on CFOs and the AI revolution. And I think it's been very clear on one thing in particular. And I think that is that the strongest AI returns in finance today are really sitting at that transactional layer of the function. So what does that mean? In plain English, what that means is that the invoice to cash and procure to pay bit is really where that piece is sitting. So invoice automation is one of the very few places AI in finance is genuinely paying back right now. But what's really interesting is that the same research is just as clear about the gap. And I think most CFOs are increasing their AI investment significantly. Far fewer are, of course, seeing the returns that they perhaps expected. So the question for today isn't really whether AI in invoice automation works. It's rather why do some implementations deliver and why don't others? And that's absolutely the conversation that we are looking to have today. So with that landscape in mind, I'm going to hand over to Tommy, who's going to talk us through what actually separates the AI in AP that delivers from the AI that doesn't. Think of this really as a quick evaluation checklist, if you like, that you can use whether you're looking at us or anyone else in the market, of course. Tommy, over to you.
Thank you, Emma. So first of all, I want to start off with a claim. Manual invoice coding is the biggest bottleneck in invoice processing. And why? Why do I have this claim? It's because 80 to 90% of non-purchase order invoices are being coded manually today. And with coding, I of course mean allocating costs to GL accounts, cost centers, business units, tax codes, you name it, all those dimensions. And of course, every one of you listeners have your unique way of coding invoices for specific dimensions in your organization. And the cost for manual invoice coding is very high, 3 to 8 euros per invoice, and it takes around 4 to 10 minutes per invoice. And that is a big problem that is not enough discussed, in my opinion. And when the companies are trying to solve this problem, they normally start building automation rules and templates, the traditional way. And I think that might not be the best way to solve this problem anymore. only relying on rules and templates. Why is that? And that's because of AI that we're going to discuss today. So AI indeed is driving a huge shift in process automation, including purchase to pay process automation, but other processes as well, like you know. So the old way has been predefined rules, whereas the new way is self-learning AI. And what do I mean by that? The old way is relying on manually built and maintained rules and templates. And this means that every single automation rule has to be manually created by someone. And these rules work in a way that if X happens, then the rule does Y. So for example, if a supplier X sends you an invoice, the rule suggests a coding template Y. Okay. The challenge is that rules and templates are only suitable for simple recurring invoices. And this is not the minority. This is the minority of your incoming invoices, actually. Those similar recurring invoices. With rules and templates, there is a lot of unused potential, what we see. So you could always build more of rules that you actually have today. Maybe that's familiar for you. And the other thing is that manually built rules and templates require high maintenance because rules don't adapt to changes automatically. Every single change has to be made manually by someone. So there's a lot of upkeeping. And this leads to low automation rate because there's a mismatch. Rules are simple, whereas invoices are complex. So it's not going to work. So the new way instead is the self-learning AI. So AI learns customer or company or organization specific coding rules automatically from historic invoice and coding data. And AI also adapts to changes automatically through a feedback loop. It requires low maintenance because of this, and it is not triggered by a single invoice field like rules typically are, but AI instead uses all the invoice data fields for coding predictions to understand the context of the invoice. And this leads to high invoice automation. So just to illustrate it, maybe it's not too much said that AI really supercharges invoice automation. Because without AI, most non-PO invoices are being manually coded. But with AI, most non-PO invoices are automatically coded. So this is a dramatic change that we're seeing, actually. So to the point, what good AI solution for invoice automation looks like in practice? I have 8 points for you listed here. So the first one, AI is capable of predicting all coding fields and workflow routing, not just interpreting invoice images into a structured file, what OCR or invoice scanning solution do, but it's capable of coding your invoices automatically. Secondly, AI models are being trained automatically using your historic invoice data. So there's no need for rule building at all. AI learns and improves automatically through a feedback loop, as mentioned before. So if AI makes mistakes, which it apparently does, it must learn from those and get better. Larger changes can be configured into your AI models in advance. For example, if you have VAT code changes, like we have had in Finland and Sweden recently, so those changes can be made in advance. Or if you have cost center structure changes or any kind of bigger changes, you have to be able to make those changes in advance to optimize your AI models. Okay, the number 6, AI prediction accuracies, or sorry, AI performance can be monitored through real-time analytics tool. So AI cannot be a black box for you. You have to be able to monitor AI performance. That is really, really important. And then prediction accuracies should be at 85 to 90% per dimension. And then AI should indicate prediction confidence per predicted field. This is very, very important. Let's imagine that AI is correct 9 out of 10 times when predicting, for example, a GL account. You're obviously interested in which one of those is the incorrect one, which needs to be replaced. So this you will know when AI gives lower confidence for that specific prediction. So that is something you want to require. And the last one, AI is capable of reading or scanning invoice images for more accurate predictions. It can not only rely on the structured data that comes from your OCR, because that file is missing a lot of important data fields. Typically, most of the line items are missing and so on. So that's why AI has to be able to get all the data from your invoice images as well. So that was my 8 points for what good looks like in practice. Back to you, Emma.
That's great. Thank you so much, Tommy. I feel like that checklist is genuinely so useful, and I suspect a few of you watching have probably screenshotted that slide. Right. So to the part that I know that most of you have been looking forward to this morning, we have Newsec Property Asset Management with us. They are one of the largest property and facility management businesses in the Nordics. So I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with them. They have operations across Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Denmark, of course. They have been a Snowfox customer for nearly 3 years now. So although for semantics, our title says 1 year in, what you're really getting today is almost three full years of lived experience with this technology in production. So quite valuable. Tore, Odd Arne, thank you both again for being here. Before we dive into the questions, just one quick reminder for the audience. The chat is open. So if anything Tore or Odd Arne says, sparks a thought, please do drop it in and we'll come back to those in our Q&A at the end. Right. Okay. So let's start at the beginning. Tore, why don't you take us back to the start? 3 years ago now, feels like a lifetime ago, especially when we're talking about AI and the speed at which, the world is moving right now. But what was it that was really driving the decision for Newsec at the time to bring AI into your AP function? And I suppose just as importantly, what were you perhaps most skeptical about going in?
Thank you, Emma. I think I will give that one the start for Odd Arne, and then I will take over for more the detailed part of it.
Yeah. Well, driving the decision for Newsec, basically, we have to remember that Newsec, of course, we can only speak for ourselves and how we think about this. And 3 years ago, nor we nor anyone else could predict what AI could do, and we still can't, I think. But the general approach for Newsec regarding AI is that we see it as a practical tool, and it's not a goal in itself. And I think that's important to remember today as well. And we, when we saw solutions like this, we had to think about what kind of value it could actually bring to us. And we decided that improving quality, efficiency, and consistency is a driving part to implement such a tool. And we have learned a lot since then, and we're still learning. And well, even though we've been using tools like this for 3 years, we're still in a learning phase, I think, and most of us are. But when we started using this particular tool, that journey started not in Norway, actually. It started in Finland, didn't it?
Yes. It's been a long process. It was a long process before we sort of signed the contract and started using it. Because we are a part of, like you said, a larger organization. We have a company in Finland. They were the one that picked up Snowfox as a tool in the invoice process handling first. And we sort of did investigation with Finland in the beginning, sort of died off, then it started up again. We saw that we should as you said, Thomas, like using rules, only rules by itself, don't give a good process and good quality. A lot of things need to be handled manual anyway. So we wanted to sort of like support the process. So yeah, in the end, we started. What we were skeptical about, would it give us benefit? Would it give the output that we wanted to achieve? Like, would it be able to sort of give the correct predictions and things like that? And we were also skeptical about like the implementation process. Like, this would be a third-party solution into a third-party solution for us, sort of, since it's not integrated into, it's not a part of ERP as it was before. So yeah, that was the skeptical part of it.
Yeah. All I think that very valid skeptical points there, Tore, and we will absolutely delve into hopefully how those points have sort of superseded the skeptic, so to speak. But I think some very good points that were raised there. And Odd-Arne, you mentioned as well that we are in this sort of iterative process of AI where we are constantly learning all the time. I don't think anyone per se is ahead of the AI game, which I think is an interesting sub question, because Newsec adopted the Snowfox technology nearly 3 years ago, which in many respects puts you, dare I say, slightly ahead of the AI game. So I'm curious to know as well, what was the conversation like internally before you committed? Because I can imagine there are a few, CFOs or finance professionals on the call here today who are perhaps thinking about change management or other stakeholders that they need to bring on board, whether that's the board members or other team members. So very curious to just understand, what was this conversation like internally? Was there anyone on the team who needed convincing more than others, or what did that process look like for you?
It wasn't a lot of like convincing in that way. It was more about like, will it give us the benefit that we wanted to achieve, that it would support our employees to get better quality on the coding of the invoices, that the daily invoice handling would be not as cumbersome as it was. That was the main discussion. It wasn't about like AI taking over or anything like that, because that's not our focus. AI for us is a tool that to support the processes, support our employees to actually focus on what's give us and them value in the daily life. So it was more about will it give us the benefit, the coding. You showed like numbers up to 80-90%. We were skeptical to that. Proven wrong, of course. And then it was also the cost benefit of it, like how much rules should we use compared to AI. We are using a combination today. I think for us in property management business, a lot of the invoices are recurring, like electricity, cleaning, maintenance. Some of the maintenance are recurring on a monthly basis. For us, it's beneficial to use rules, because we can create rules across all the legal entities that we take care of. We take care of about 600 legal entities at the moment. But there's also a lot of annual invoices or invoices that we can't sort of make rules, or it's not, the cost benefit is not there. So it was about will it give us the benefit and will it the cost benefit of it.
And as Tore says, when the matter of the case is so complex, we are in need of the experts, the people that actually uses these tools. We can't replace them. It's never been part of the thought process to replace people. They will always be an important and integral part of the business for us. So regarding AI for us, and especially back then when the AI hype wasn't that, well, not at the level that it is right now, at least. I don't think we ever talked about AI replacing people, so that was not part of our journey, at least.
Mm. And I think that's a very reassuring and valuable comment to make. I think when we are living in a time where, whether people admit it or not, are slightly nervous about AI. Of course, there's a lot of people who are very excited about it as well, but I think there are, it's moving at such a rapid pace that I think businesses and individuals alike are struggling to keep up with it and perhaps understand really what tools or platforms are the best to use going forward. And then, of course, on top of that, we're grappling with AI psychosis. So it's just wonderful to hear Newsec take, I think, this approach that you truly stand by. Now, before we just move swiftly along, because I am conscious about time, I think something that would be helpful as well, just for our audience, is just having an understanding of how many invoices you're receiving and what was the sort of automation level like when you started. So how many were you processing manually? What do things look like now? Just a little bit of color, I think, is always helpful.
When we started with Snowfox, we had about 60,000 invoices annually. About 40% of them were coded by rules. Today we have 120,000 invoices, growing quite fast the last couple of years, and hopefully we're going to grow fast the next years as well. We are still at sort of like 40-50% by rules, and the rest is Snowfox. And one of the reasons that we are being able to sort of have the growth is that we use both the rules and AI to predict the invoices.
Great. Wonderful. Okay. So Tommy, I think we can move on to the next slide now. But that's really useful context. Thank you. So if we fast forward to today, you've had AI running in your AP function for nearly 3 years now. So tell me, what has surprised you, both good and bad? Clearly, there was a lot of skeptical, antics to begin with. Tura, you said, to be proven wrong, which is, music to our ears. But love to hear your take on this as well. The good and the bad, the ugly. Let's just be real.
There's not going to be any ugly, but the good thing is that we were surprised at how easy this was to implement. We did a test with I think it was 20,000 invoices, and got sort of like a taste of the automation level. And when we had that, it was like plug and play. It was a good cooperation between our invoice handling solution and you guys, and it runs by itself. It doesn't need any maintenance, a lot of work to follow up. In the beginning, we had a lot of meetings just to look at the numbers, look at where did the AI go wrong, and the technology was very adaptive. Several processes was added to support the main process to get high prediction rate, and that was really, really good. In the middle of this, we also changed or upgraded our ERP solution. So we changed our everything. We changed all the dimension. We changed the account, all the accounts and everything, and that also was quite smooth. The challenge might be that being a third-party solution on a third-party solution require a good collaboration to sort of like also to get a good start, but also to maintain like a good process for all of them. And that have been a little bit challenging. At the moment, everything is running smooth, so that is really good. However, going forward, I think we need to look more into how we can do this even better, because like we are only using AI for predicting the count and 3 dimensions. Maybe we should look into more. Maybe we should look into AI for the approval flow. So that is something we need to sort of like looking at forward. But yeah, good and bad.
Right. Yeah. So it sounds like, sort of going back to the earlier point about looking at how you can continuously optimize and iterate on the technology and AI that is available to you to essentially streamline the processes even further. I have a sub question off the back of this because I'm interested about the team, your team as well. Was there anything in particular that you felt that the team had to learn about this sort of bit of technology that wasn't perhaps obvious to them in going in from the get-go, or was it very much a sort of seamless, cohesive, we learn as we go together?
It was a learn as we go, because like the people that was we have a really small AP with only one person handling 120,000 invoices coming in, and then it's the reviewer and the approver that takes care of the coding if it's necessary to do any changes. So we only inform new employees, new clients, people that we are using rules and we're using AI, and you get the account and those dimensions predicted. The rest is up to you to sort of like figure out, is this correct? Mm-hmm. Yes, just approve. If it's not correct, then change it. So the AI can learn the next time the invoice comes along. So it was really, really easy communication to everyone. And most people don't sort of see it. It works in the background. You get either a pre-coded invoice by rules or by AI. Not a lot of difference. And yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a very key point there. It is essentially working in the background, as you say. It's this invisible layer, right? That's just there and very easy to sort of plug on in. Excellent. Emma. Yes, go ahead.
There's actually a great question coming from the audience.
Sure, yes.
Which ERP or AP system you are actually using?
We are using the ERP system you're using is D365. But I guess he wants to know what kind of invoice handling solution we are using. We are using Opus Capita's EPA.
Yes, thank you. And then there was another question that how does the AI actually understand that it made a mistake? But you actually already explained it. That if AI is giving an incorrect GL account, for example, somebody will replace it in the invoice workflow system. Select that's the correct one.
Yeah, the person that gets the invoice with the wrong coding, he just if it's like a dimension, he changed the dimension. When we confirm the posting and send it to the ERP, it's a file that goes there. At the same time, it's a file that goes to Snowfox as well. So you pick up whatever that have been changed.
Super. That's great. Well, it's always good when the question's already been answered and we can reiterate on it. So moving swiftly along, I think this has been really brilliant so far. But I do think if we just get a little concrete for a moment, because I think this is certainly what a lot of the audience will be sitting with. So very curious to know what your AP function actually looks like today, June 2026, compared to what it looked like before. And also just having a think about, how has the team's day-to-day activities actually changed? I know, Odd-Arne, you mentioned earlier that, of course, Newsec takes, I think, quite a unique, dare I say, approach in that it's not about replacing employees with the AI infrastructure that you're rolling in, but actually it's about reinvesting into that talent. So curious to know a little bit more about this, how perhaps your teams are also, working differently. What does that work actually look like? So I'll hand over to the two of you on this point.
Maybe I should start then. Well, one of the key things that we understood quite early on that if we implement a really powerful tool like this, that makes us capable of making the employee or a colleague, their workday will be better, because a lot of the menial tasks will go away, and they can focus on doing the things that actually gives themselves value, and thus us value as a company. And if they do that, they automatically give our clients value. So a better workday for them, for a colleague, will also give a better product for the client. And this is really easy to do. We don't. It doesn't cost us anything to give them that freedom and that space. So with a solution like this, and not only like this, because this could be implemented in a lot of solutions, and not only AI, of course, but AI is really low-hanging fruit for this. If you think like that and try to empower the colleagues and the people that we work together with, and give them the opportunity to have a better work-life balance, and of course a meaningful and sustainable work life, well, it's better for them, lower turnover, better quality, and stuff like that. So with that in mind, we can keep all the employees that we have and just make them even better experts at what they do. And well, that's a big win for Newsec at least.
Yeah, and when it comes to sort of the practical side of how it affects the AP, it doesn't affect the AP as much, since we only have the work is divided between like the AP that receive all the invoices. She now handled 120,000 invoices alone per year. 3 years ago, she had 30,000. It supports our growth. And then you have like the approvers and the reviewers that are sort of like the one that are coding or checking the coding. They have less now, since they get a prediction no matter what. If it's invoice by rule or invoice by AI, they get a prediction. So it's a lot easier for them to sort of like handle invoices and handle more invoices. So it's using AI and making things easier both for AP and the reviewers, is that it supports our growth. That is good. That is really important for us. At the same time, we see that like 120,000 invoices for one person to handle and distribute is quite a lot. So maybe we need to look into also using AI for the workflow. So we'll see. If we still grow, we might look into that as well. So it will support our growth as well, that part.
That's great. And I think that's absolutely it. I mean, you're just pointing out so many examples here of how it's a continuous, like, it's a learning loop and an iterative process in looking at how, as you grow, you can use the AI to then come in and sort of support the different processes along the way, the workflows, for example, as you mentioned. So if we move swiftly on to slide 4, Tommy, I
want to add one more thing to that one.
Yeah, go.
One thing is internally in Newsec, but this will also give benefit to our clients, because a lot of our clients are part of that coding process as well, like reviewers. So they get an equal part of like the benefit of getting a proposal day as well. So it gives both Newsec and our clients benefit in their daily life.
I'm so glad that you added that point. That's an excellent point, because you're absolutely right. It's not just about the internal benefits. I mean, of course, majority of this is actually about sort of the external value add as well, in your case, to the clients that you're supporting. So thank you very much for adding that bit there. In terms of question number 4 here, I think this is a question that a lot of people watching and listening today have perhaps been waiting for. As we know, hindsight is a beautiful thing. And, if a finance leader is watching this today and sitting where you were, say, three years ago, or even a year ago, and they are looking at evaluating AI for their AP function, what would you tell them? What's the advice that you wish someone had given you?
What advice? It's sort of like a cost benefit. Like, will it give value to you and your organization and your clients? Because if you look at just the process, it's a no-brainer, because like AI will give more consistent data over time than a person do. Because like you might look at the same invoice two different days and you feel like, no, I want to I code it to one account one day and another account another day, because you don't have the same knowledge and the same consistency as an AI. So you give a lot higher quality to have something like this, and also give the support to the process to the employees. Do you want to add in something?
Well, if I was to say something to a finance leader or any leader actually evaluating AI usage, well, you have to consider what are you actually doing and what do you need from this. And if implementing something like this, could you still remain with the same level of trust and control? And is this actually beneficial for you? Is this real value? And if you can answer those with confidence and in a positive way, then you should pursue. Using AI and AI tools are, well, it's a learning game. No one's an expert right now, I think. It's moving so fast. And well, you should get on a train, but do not chase the hype. The hype is not important. To do something that actually is meaningful for you and your business.
I think very valid points there. I think hype, we keep seeing that word across the board, and I think that's absolutely it. I think we need to be very careful not to join the sort of the hype bandwagon and actually take the time to really assess and understand what are the most valuable tools and what is the, essentially the value that one is hoping to derive from them. One sort of sub point before I move on to the final takeaway, is there anything in particular that you would do differently if you would start over today? Is there anything that sort of jumps out and you think, yeah, that's just that one little nugget, so to speak, that I'd really tweak? Or do you feel like it's been a pretty kind of seamless learn as you go, iterate process across the board?
No, I think we had like a good approach to this one. We didn't have high expectations. We started, as you say, as we go, and we had a pilot that worked quite well. What else we should do? Maybe no, I wouldn't change anything. When I look back now, I wouldn't change anything because it's been it was like an easy implementation. It was an easy being in production. But then again, after a few years, like we are almost 3 years in, it's always good to look into what can we change now. It's more about that because you need to learn and learn slow, learn small. Don't take too big bite of the elephant. That is number one. But then when you know more about the process, know more about like where do you want to go, and also adapt to where we are now, because like we are 3 years in AI, like the evolution, and it's a lot of things going on.
Yep.
At the moment. So I think we need to revisit and see what can we do next.
Absolutely. I think that's very valid. I'm very conscious of time. So if we just move on to the last slide, Tommy.
Yes, Emma, quickly, can I steal 30 seconds maybe? This question is actually coming from the audience for Newsec, that we're talking about automating the coding part right now. But have you, Newsec, thought of automating the workflow? I think you already mentioned it, but maybe worth revisiting that.
We are using rules to automate the workflow at the moment, and the main reason that we have been sort of like a little bit hesitant to use AI is that we have more than 600 legal entities. We have a lot of clients that are in the invoice handling process, and we have been a little bit concerned about like if we use the AI only look backwards normally, to what have been like coded or who have been approving this invoice, if there are changes, and there's a lot of changes every day in who are approving which invoice, people are moving on to other companies, new employees come, there are changes between people that, okay, changing one one company to another person, a lot of changes. So that has been the reason that we haven't looked into it. But then again, maybe there is some way to do this to both take care of looking forward, but also looking backward.
We can see that in development of AI, that it's progressively easier to ensure quality and trust in the output, because we learn more and we get better at understanding what AI does for us as well. It's not black magic anymore. We kind of understand what's happening. But we always need to keep human oversight in the loop. It's really important for us, at least. So then back again to, we can't get rid of people, we need them.
The last part of the question is about like the touchless. Yes, we do have some touchless, but then again, we are a business on behalf of. So whatever the clients say that we should do, we do. That is the biggest limitation when it comes to like touchless for us. But yeah, we are moving there.
No, that's brilliant. Well, I think, you know, we've actually already answered this question in subpar, which is excellent. So it actually takes the timing. But I think the two of you just had some very, very good nuggets there. Two things that really stood out to me. Tore, you said, don't have too many or too high expectations. I think that's fantastic. I think sometimes when you set the bar so high and you have this sort of ethereal vision of what's to come, you know, it more often than not leads to disappointment. So I think it really sounds like for Newsec, it has been very much a learning experience and still is. You talk about all these different ways in which you are going to, you know, deliver more for your clients, touchless workflows and so forth. And Odd Arne, I think you also raise a very good point around still having that human oversight in the process. It's not just about relying on AI handing over and sort of, you know, wiping your hands of it there. Right. Okay. Well, we have a couple minutes left, which is great. So I think we can hand over to you, Thomas. I do want to say, though, thank you to both of you for being so generous with the honest version. I think now, Tommy, you are going to share 5 practical, concrete takeaways for anyone here today who's in the middle of evaluating their AI for finance function. So over to you.
Yes, I'm going to do it very quickly, so we hopefully have a minute for Q&A still. So let's see. But yeah, my 5 tips how to evaluate AI solution today. So first of all, make sure it actually is a real AI solution, obvious, and make sure you know what are its capabilities. And because there are a lot of so-called AI solutions in the market that are actually not AI, but yeah, we'll leave it that. Make sure you know what are the capabilities. Second one that Newsec, Tore and Odd Arne actually mentioned that you conducted an AI accuracy test before commitment. And this is something I highly recommend. Make sure you test AI prediction accuracy before commitment. You should be able to conduct an AI accuracy test with your historic data before committing. That's how you actually know how it really works with your invoice data. Each company is unique, really important. Require analytics tool for transparent AI performance monitoring. You want to know how it works, I can tell you. Number 4, require admin tools for AI model optimization. Just like Tore and Odd Arne, you mentioned, for example, the workflow. People are changing, leaving the company, new people coming in. You can make that type of changes in the admin tool. But of course, if the changes are happening so often, like it is with Newsec, it might be a bit of upkeeping work, but it can be done with AI. And finally, make sure you'll achieve good results quickly after implementation. You don't have to wait for 6 months to get results if it's a good AI solution for invoice automation. These are my 5 tips how to evaluate what to pay attention to.
Fabulous.
Now.
Speedy Gonzalez there, Tommy. That was excellent. Right. Okay. Well, we have 1 minute to spare, and I think we will just perhaps extend by a couple more minutes for whoever wants to stay, just to tackle any sort of questions. Before we do, though, just want to wrap up and say again that the recording of today's session will land in your inbox within the next 24 hours. So look out for that. And if there is anything that Newsec have said today that has particularly resonated, or if there are any questions that Tommy has, raised, left you wanting to dig a little bit further, by all means, do reach out to us. We've also included Joachim here, who is our automation expert. So you can absolutely reach out to him if you'd like to delve into Snowfox a little bit further. You can also, of course, reach myself or Tommy, or of course, our contact form on our website, snowfox.ai. Great. Okay. Q&A. Tommy, do we have anything coming through that we haven't perhaps addressed that you feel we should address before we round off?
I think there's at least one right now that we could take. The question goes, I am interested in the invoice data reading or invoice scanning. Have you seen improvement in this? Is there a difference in electrical or non-electrical invoices? So real invoices or PDF or any invoice images? Does it find more data like requesters, PO numbers, VAT codes, etc.? Maybe I will quickly mention that when we think about invoice coding AI, there are two ways of kind of coding invoices with AI. One is extracting specific invoice fields or data fields from the invoice data, like project number can be often found from the invoice data, but like GL account, it's never in the invoice data, so it cannot be extracted, but AI is using all the data fields to predict these values. But what are your thoughts, your experiences, Odane and Ture, about OCR improvements?
First of all, we are lucky to have more than 95% electronic invoices. So we have very few manual invoices. We do not have any PO invoices because we don't have a purchase system, unfortunately. We would love to have that. We haven't dived into to see the differences since PDFs are sort of like a minority of the invoices we get, and I think it's already next year or the year after, it's going to be a mandatory thing to send e-invoices in Norway. So PDF is not the future anyway.
Brilliant. Good. Okay. Anything else to add, or can we round it off there? I reckon we round it off here. Great. Okay, we are a couple minutes over, so let me just bring us to a close. Again, a huge thank you to both of you, Ture and Odd-Arne. Genuinely, I think it's been a very honest conversation. I think these are the sorts of conversations that are quite rare these days, especially on webinars. So hopefully, everyone watching feels the same. Hopefully it's been beneficial. Thank you also, of course, to Tommy. You are an absolute, expert in this subject matter. And of course, thank you all to all of you for joining us this morning. We know that your time is precious, and we really do appreciate you spending some of it with us. And we will be in touch by email, and you have our contact details in the meantime as well. So thank you very much, and we will bring this webinar to a close now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.